The Biden administration's Indo-Pacific strategy says that the United States has, for a long time, seen Asia merely as an arena for geopolitical competition. I'm grateful to see that framing. I agree. One of the things I think was profound moral and strategic mistake in the last Cold War was our support for brutal dictators in the name of having a common enemy. I would hope that most Americans look back at our long relationship with Pinochet in Chile, Suharto in Indonesia, Rios Montt in Guatemala, and feel the same determination. I do not want to repeat those historical injustices. What worries me is that this time we seem willing to let Modi be our new Pinochet. Some in the foreign policy world seem eager to let Duterte or Marcos be our new Suharto. In the whole Indo-Pacific strategy, there are only two references to human rights. One of those is a reference to how China is undermining them. Nobody doubts that. China's human rights record is atrocious, and that is well known. But I ask, what about Modi in India? How are we promoting a free and open region by supporting Modi? So I ask you, why has the Biden administration been so reluctant to criticize Modi's government on human rights?
Congresswoman, President Biden said when he became president that human rights would be at the center of our foreign policy. And I can assure you, in every interaction I have had with any government where we have concerns about their human rights record, it has been part of that dialogue. That is true for the Secretary of State. That is true for the President of the United States. I wore this pin this morning for a reason. This eagle was Madeleine Albright's signature pin. It has her signature on the back of it. She was a dear friend of mine, a business partner, but also my boss when I was counselor of the State Department. She fought for democracy and human rights her entire life. She was so proud that President Biden made human rights at the center of his policy. So I can assure you that every single person at the State Department raises these issues and presses them.
What do you think is the root that reluctance for the human rights violations they are committing?
I think it is important that we talk with countries with whom we have multiple interests about our human rights concerns, that we meet with civil society, that we deal with these issues, that we support NGOs who are pressing, that we support journalists and the freedom of journalists. We mentioned earlier today, the Secretary just met with Maria Ressa, who has spoken out and gotten a Nobel Peace Prize for it, but also threats against her life on a constant basis, that we reinforce voices for human rights in countries, even where we have many other agendas with the government of those countries. I think you will see that everywhere. When I went to India the last time, as the Deputy Secretary of State, I met with the LGBTQI plus community. I have to tell you, 5 years ago, no such meeting would exist. And it is partly because of the advocacy of NGOs and civil society and our affirmation of them that people have more freedom that they once had. And we will continue to pursue this agenda in every way possible.
I really appreciate that sentiment. And I push because when your predecessor was here, I asked the same question. What will it take? How much does the Modi administration have to criminalize the act of being Muslim in India for us to say something? And I ask you again, what will it take for us to outwardly criticize the actions that the Modi administration is taking against its Muslim minorities in India? Because when we remain silent and the situation gets out of control in the way that it did with the Rohingyas, we all of a sudden show our interest in whatever genocide that's taking place. But we have an opportunity now to lead and make sure that there is a deterrence in the actions that they are taking as our partners.
Congresswoman, I agree the importance that we stand up for every religion, every ethnicity, every race, every quality of diversity in this world and certainly in our own country. We are not perfect either. I stand up for the rights of minorities and difference here in this country, and we have to do so around the world.
I do hope we make a practice of standing up not just to our adversaries, but to our allies as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, and I yield back.
Absolutely.